guys. There we go. We are now recording. So, yeah, I'm just going to hit Control and A and set all the... No, I'm not. I'm going to hit Shift and S. Put the vertex into the center of the geometry and Alt and G to center it. So now what I can do is I can put a loop cut right in the center there and delete these vertices, and then I only have to work on half of the sofa because I can mirror it. Okay, hopefully that's going to work okay. So we'll start off by removing these faces. Not exactly starting to look like a sofa yet, but it will. We'll subdivide it and delete these faces. And I'll select those edges and we'll drag them back a bit. And I'll select those edges and drag those in a bit. I'll select those edges and drag them down a bit. These ones I'll drag in a little bit. Maybe like that. And let's just adjust this back.
So you got your sofa from DFS then?
I would never buy a sofa from DFS, Pony, considering I work for SCS. I get a very nice staff discount. I'll probably edit that bit out, actually, considering this is going to be a public video. Okay, so we've got the basic shape. I'm reasonably happy with that. So I'm going to add a solidify modifier. And I want it to go outwards, so we'll change it from -1 to 1. And click even thickness. And probably make it a bit thicker even, something like that perhaps. That'll do. And then we'll shade smooth. And we'll add a subdivision surface with 2 subdivisions. So there is our basic shape. I'll apply that. It's really not that hard, honestly, it's not. You just got to play around with it. Just have a little bit of a... I mean, all of these modifiers I've used, the mirror modifier is kind of obvious. I've mirrored one side of the sofa and just worked on the other. The solidify modifier just turns a flat plane kind of thing into a manifold object by giving it thickness. And then the subdivision surface modifier has just literally, is what it says, it's subdivided the mesh. So you've got something like this. So I think what I'm going to do is start by selecting a few places where I want buttons. Just make sure that's in the center. Yes, it is. And we'll have buttons there. And where else can I have buttons? Maybe there and there. Yeah, maybe not. We'll try there, and then we can choose some here, perhaps.
I thought you were mirroring that, no?
I've applied the mirror modifier, so it's not mirrored anymore. It's all one big object.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So... I've kind of decided where the buttons are going to be. They're not going to be equidistant, I'm sure the word is, but yeah, I'm still not 100% happy with that, but that'll have to do, I reckon. It'll do for now. So, that was wrong, Lisa. We press Control Shift and B to bevel vertices. Control and B is for beveling edges. Control Shift and B is for beveling vertices. And I've missed one here. So we'll just undo that and we'll select that. Do it again. And that's where our buttons are going to be. I still haven't got these spaced properly, you know.
Yeah.
Let's try that.
Yeah, that looks good.
That'll do, yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
into edge
What
mode.
did you do to get that to happen? It's how'd you? I know you had them selected, but then you're just dragging it. How'd you make those buttons come out like that?
Yeah, let's turn on my screencast keys. There we go.
Oh, sorry.
Control Shift and B for beveling vertices. Control and B bevels edges, which we'll do in a second. Control Shift and B bevels vertices, and then you just use your mouse and drag it out a bit to about the size you want. So we just want them pretty small.
I wouldn't expect that for that type of thing. Okay, cool.
And then edge. We select the edges around the buttons because we want creases there.
Cool.
I think I'm also going to select some extra edges here as well, so we get a bit more creasing. Okay, and now we just need to decide where the creases on the seat are going to be. So I want a crease down here. I want a crease all the way along the back. I want a crease down the middle, and then we'll just subdivide a little bit here. Maybe something like that, perhaps. What we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I must have done it about there. That'll do. Okay. So we're now going to do an edge bevel, which is Control and B. And we'll drag that out just a tiny bit. And then we're going to come out of edit mode and we're going to add another subdivision surface modifier with 2 subdivisions, and we'll apply that. So now we've got this funky looking thing. So I'm going to leave those selected to be on the safe side so I don't lose them. I'm going to hit Control and G and assign to a new group. So now if you go over here, I've now got a vertex group saved with all of these assigned to it. So I can easily, just hit assign to be sure, you can easily deselect everything. I've just hit A twice there. A selects everything, double tap A, deselects everything. And then you can select the group and you know you've got it. Oh no! Saved! It should have been something like that.
Did I keep getting portal dropped?
So you know what, I'm going to invert and deselect. Why isn't that? Have I applied my modifier? Yes, I have. Oh, you know what, let's forget about that for now. I'm just going to leave them selected and go into sculpt mode. First thing we want to do is face sets. We need to create a face set because we're
Sorry.
going to use the inflate
There's somebody
tool.
dropping portals in here.
Yeah, somebody did, but they're gone.
No, they keep doing it.
Oh.
Let's just enjoy
Okay.
the lesson, my friends.
We're going to inflate the sofa, but we don't want it to inflate the bits that I've got selected. So we're going to, under face sets, choose face set from edit mode selection, and there is our face set. So we now scroll all the way down, and there's a handy tool here called the cloth filter, and under that we want to choose use face sets and change it from gravity to inflate. So now what we can do, I'm just going to reduce that a little bit using under edit face set, click on the white bit, and that'll just reduce the size a little bit. Go back to the cloth filter. Now if we hover over the face set, which is like a mask, and drag left, it will go inwards. And if we hover over the white bit and drag right, it'll inflate outwards. So we're doing deflate and inflate very gradually in small increments until it kind of looks right.
Cool.
Another little bit of deflating there. And a bit more inflating. And if we go back to our layout view, we've got a little bit of weird stuff going on here. So I probably should have, and we haven't got it there. That's really strange. So what we can do is we can either give it a bit more, few more subdivisions, or we could try smoothing it out a little bit. So use the smooth tool, make sure the strength's just set lowish, a half will do for now, and just tap a bit. See if we can get that to look a bit more normal. That's looking a little bit, it's still not right, is it? I wonder why that is. Let's try going back a few steps. Don't know if it's going to go back far enough actually. Nah. Okay. Well, it may just be that there's not enough geometry. So let's see if adding some geometry is going to help. Probably not. I just hope that I'm not going to actually crash my PC doing this. You know, it's not really all that bad. It's just the fact that these two sections here haven't actually gone in a bit, like they haven't been pinched quite as much as before. So let's just undo that subdivision. We'll just get rid of that because that's just slowing everything down. It's making my PC chug and grind a bit, and I don't want Blender to crash and have to start again. Now would be a good idea probably to save my file. Right, okay, so I think I'm reasonably happy at the moment with that. I'm just going to create a duplicate of it and leave it where it is, and I need to rename these. So I'm going to call it sofa high poly HP underscore HP. We're going to use a plugin which is free I think you can find it on, well, you can find it online. Just Google it, and I think you can download it from a GitHub page. And it's called Text Tools. It's really, really cool for baking normal maps and stuff. But their rules are, your objects need to have they need to have exactly the same name, except for the suffix at the end here. It says you needs high and low poly using suffixes _HP and _LP. So for the other one, we'll also name it small s, sofa _LP. Excuse me while I just have a mouthful of tea, man. I'm going all croaky. So we'll hide the high poly one, and we'll just work on this one. We will, in fact, what I'll do is I'll turn on wireframe so we can see what it's doing, and we'll add a decimate modifier. Now to decimate, because this is pure quads and I've used subdivision surface, so it has literally been subdivided, I'm now going to unsubdivide, and it'll leave us with pure quads, and we can just turn up the iterations until it looks reasonable. See if I can get away with that, maybe, because we've still got a little bit of profile, like a little bit of shape and stuff, and the pinching where the buttons are. If I go up too high, it's going to start looking weird. We're going to get shading issues. And I'm always turning it up in increments of 2, because if you use an odd number, you get this weird crisscross lattice, like diagonal shapes. So I think 6 is about as far as I can go with that. So I'll apply it, and we can turn off wireframe now. I might have gone a bit too far, but we will see, because that is looking pretty funky. We'll see what it's like with the normal map on. In fact, before I apply the decimate modifier, I'll create a duplicate and I'll hide it. So, in fact, what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to hide it. I'm going to move it to another group, and I'll just call it backup. So if I need to go back to that state, I can, and then I'll just hide the collection. So we'll go back to sofa LP, and we'll apply the modifier. And then we just need to select high poly and low poly. Doesn't matter which order when it comes to using this text tools thing. Oh, I haven't unwrapped them. That's another thing as well. We need to do that. So work on the high poly. I'm just going to do a smart UV unwrap because it's way too complicated a shape to unwrap manually. And then with my favourite UV pack master, I would pack it. But because Dead Sed's asked about overlapping UVs, we need to do it the proper way, which is, I would use pack islands. Is there an option for validating UVs in here? This is the question. Let's have a look. It doesn't look like it. So let's do pack islands. And then under pack islands, we're going to give it a bit of a margin. You need enough space in between all your islands to avoid bleed over of the normal maps onto other parts of your model. That looks okay. Now what I would have done, I just don't know if there's an option built into Blender, but using UV Packmaster, which is what I use, it's got a handy validate UVs button, and it'll do a quick check. It's doing its working out here, and then when it's finished, oh, there's the fan spinning up on my PC. It's working hard.
Nice.
There we go. Number of invalid faces found 1, and it'll be, if I press the period key on my numpad, you can see why, and it's because we've got this single vertex which is overlapping. So all I do is I just move it back a bit. In fact, we'll give it a bit more of a space there. That'll do. That should fix it. So if we pack again, I like UV Pack Master to pack because it makes such good use of the space. And give it a bit more of a margin. And then validate UVs. There we go. But if you've actually got islands overlapping each other, like for instance this island was overlapping this island, I would just using the UV pack island should fix it. And then you can adjust your margin easily enough. Just in that particular instance it didn't quite cope very well with that one vertex, but we've fixed it manually. So that's the high poly one done. The low poly one, UV editing. We'll do a, I know I'm probably working way too fast, sorry. UV, Smart UV Project is what I did, but I just used shortcuts, AUS, and enter. And then we're going to use the same margin. We'll validate the UVs. No invalid faces found, so that's fine. So we're unwrapped. I'm now going to select both of them, go back into UV editing. We'll just deselect that so we can see what we're doing here. And in text tools, you've got this handy option under here called baking. It'll open up like that when you open up your menu. You just press N in the UV channel, exactly the same as you do in the viewport channel, to get your tabs up, your options. So choose under baking. It's already set to tangent normal and always will be, which is handy because that's probably what you're going to use it most for. And the size, we're going to leave it at 512 pixels simply because it'll bake quicker, and once we know it's baking correctly we'll increase it to 2048. I usually do, because you can downsize them to your liking in Unity. So we're going to start by just hitting the bake button, and that hasn't worked. We've got all this bright yellow stuff. You should never have bright yellow on a normal map, and that's just because you've got faces going through faces basically, because either the ray distance is too great, which it isn't because it's set to 0. Normally what we'd need to do is just increase the cage extrusion. Now, if you imagine ray distance is like, if you imagine you're shooting out, you would normally have one object slightly bigger than the other, and you would shoot out rays inwards from the yellow poly model, from the large model inwards to the smaller model. And this ray distance, it's kind of like measuring a distance with lasers. It measures how deep things are going in order to generate the normal map. So it works out where it's going up and down, the topology. With cage extrusion, there's something that was introduced to Blender, I think with version 3. Prior to that it didn't exist, and what it was in the, I'll just change this to cycle so you can see it. In the bake menu, we now have an option, if it's going to let me, we've got a tick selected to active to see it. We've now got an option to tick cage, and what this does is you can create a copy of your low poly model and make that one a bit bigger, so you're not actually changing your low poly model, and using that as like a dummy model to fire your rays from, to work out your ray distance, and you can delete it afterwards, and it's called a cage. So in UV editing, we're going to pretend we've got a cage because text tools does it all for you, and we'll just increase the cage extrusion a bit and bake again. And it's better, but we've still got a bit of the yellow there, so we'll just increase it a bit more and bake. And that looks better than it was. It's not fantastic, but it is only a 512 pixel image. We'll increase it to 2048 now, and rebake, and that one's going to take a bit longer. And when the blue button isn't blue anymore, that'll be it done. So we can test this out. If we go into shading and we'll hide the high poly version, select the low poly one, we'll give it a material, and we'll find, oh goodness, look at all these, this is what I'm using in my scene. Find the normal we've just created for the sofa, we can drag it in, and then we'll connect that up to there, and in between the two, to make it work properly, we need to add a normal map node. Oh, I'll just put that in the middle, and there you can see our low poly sofa with a normal map, so it kind of looks like it's you've got to look in material view to see it, but yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Once it's got a bit colour on there and the lighting in the room baked and stuff, that'll look much better. So I'm quite happy with that. We've got a little bit of an issue going on here. I'm not sure what that is. Let's just have a look in here. Let's just select that face. That's the edge, Lisa, you idiot. Select that face and have a look over here. And yeah, we've still got a little bit of an issue. It hasn't baked correctly there. So I'm just going to select the high poly and the low poly again, back into edit mode. And I'll try turning this up manually because the little arrows increase it by 0.03 each time. I'm just going to try adding 0.01 onto it. I probably should have done a 512. This is going to take too long. We'll see if it fixes it. There we go, fixed. Okay, so back into shading. And there's that weird white thing gone. So that is looking pretty good. I'm happy with that for now. So now we just need to put some legs on it. Now it's got a bit of a rounded bottom, which I'm not 100% happy about. Let's see if we can flatten those off a little bit to maybe... Yeah, let's just select them and them. Those and those, whatever. And we'll try moving them up slightly with a little bit of proportional editing on. Just flatten that out a little bit. That'll do. And then start adding legs. So I'm going to add a cylinder, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have adjusted it first. So let's add a cylinder and adjust the number of sides to maybe, can I get away with 6? Of course I can. Of course you can. And we'll scale it down on everything but the Z and move it over to about there maybe. Is that all going? Yeah, that's fine. We'll do auto smooth shading, but I need to increase the angle because I've only got 6 sides. The angle's too steep around the sides, so why isn't that working either? That's a bit bizarre. Oh, there we go. Yeah, just need to increase it till it's smoothed off. If I turn off cavity, then you can see for definite if you're going to be able to see those lines and those edges, and you shouldn't. I mean, I could have increased it to 8, but just because I'm I always try and get away with the lowest possible number of faces I can for performance reasons. I'm going to leave it at that for now. So we will go into edit mode. Let's just select that face and I'll move it up a bit until I'm kind of happy where how high the legs should be. I wonder if that's high enough. Yeah, probably is. We can adjust it afterwards if need be, and I'm going to scale it down a bit. Oh, try and do it without getting some weird shading problems going on. And I'll go into, if I press Control and 7, 7 takes you into top down orthographic view. Control and 7 takes you into bottom up. So we'll select all of that, and I'm just going to move it to roughly, let's turn off proportional editing, move it to roughly where I want my leg to be. Yeah, maybe not. We'll move it in a bit. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. And we'll scale it down on everything but the Z because it's way too fat. And I still think that needs to go up a bit as well. Maybe like that. So we'll let's just set the origin to be that bottom face, because we'll probably end up making that the plane that the sofa sits on. So we now need to just duplicate that and move it back a bit on the Y. See, that probably should be further back. From a physics point of view, if I have that too far in, the whole sofa's going to tip back if 3 people sit on it and lean back, aren't they? So I'm wondering if we should put that one back a little bit further.
Just put it diagonally, Lisa.
You think so?
Yeah, that will fix it.
So you think if I just, because I want this bit to be flat on the floor, if I just move this back a bit, you mean? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could probably move that one forward a bit as well. Yeah, let's just adjust the angle there as well. And we'll move that one forwards a bit. Yeah, that's not bad. That'll do.
Diagonally on the side if you want to. It will make more sense. But just to the left.
Let's just join these together then. And we'll select that face and that face. And move them over that way.
Yeah, and then move it a little bit to the left and then it should be perfect.
Oh man!
Yeah.
I might as well just shade this smooth now because my angle has gone past the 90 degrees for the top. So what I'll do is I'll just select those and I'll mark them as sharp so they don't get smoothed. And then I'll change it again to auto smooth and I'll just turn that all the way up to 180. There we go, and then it smooths everything except the feet. So now what I can do is I can apply all the transforms and apply a mirror modifier on the X and we've got the feet on the other side. So you think these need to be moved over to the left a bit?
Yeah, a little bit, but they look good.
I think it's all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll apply that. So we've got feet. Now we need to get the dimensions right. So let's have a look. How high would a sofa be? I think it really depends on the model, but it does have quite a high back. So shall we kind of work on maybe 1 metre to start with? See what that's like. Actually, I think we should probably unwrap these legs first before we join it to the sofa. Quarter to. Have I got time to unwrap manually? I would like to unwrap manually. Something like this, I would just think there's no way I'm using Smart UV project on this. Let's give it a try. Basically, I would just choose an edge that you're not going to see. It's like pointing in away towards the underside of the sofa. And mark that as a seam, and then select that bit. Mark it as a seam, and that bit. Mark seam. Select everything and UV unwrap. And this is where I find... There we go. That's fine, that's unwrapped. So we've done that one. See, if I'd unwrapped one leg, I then would have just had to mirror it and it's done. All the others would be the same, but because I forgot, I've now got to unwrap them all. So edge, mark seam, face and face, mark seam, everything, unwrap. Oh, yeah, that'll do. Mark seam. Getting there. Last one. There we go. So let's just do the usual, select everything and pack. I won't need to validate UVs, but I'll do it anyway. No invalid faces found. That'll do nicely. So I'll join that with that. So that's now my sofa. And for some reason, oh, I've still got my edges on there. It's probably because my sofa is just set to shade smooth. I need to change that to 180. There we go. Now we've still got the nice sharp edges on the faces, on the feet of the sofa. So, what I would like to do is find some wood that I'm going to use on the legs. Or should I have, because it's kind of a retro modern sofa, maybe a chrome would look better. Yeah, let's do a metallic one. I don't think we've done anything metallic yet that I can remember. So, legs. We need 2 materials.
Use the shader and blender?
What, sorry? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll do 1 for this. We'll make it leather for the sofa. And 1 material for the legs. We'll call it chrome.
VR.
So we've got too much selected. Let's select all of the legs. And we want to assign the chrome material to it. And now we can work on those materials now. That just looks funky as anything, but there you go. And that's because, one of the reasons is because we need to reassign the normal that we baked, which for some reason is black. Why is my normal gone black? Are we going to have to rebake it? We shouldn't have to. Why is my... Let's just change this back to... Was it material 1 it was called? I can't remember now. Oh man. My normal was all baked. I should have saved it. Okay. Let's just select that, invert the selection, and we'll separate those for now. What the heck is going on with that? Oh, that's why. That was the picture. Right, okay. We're just going to have to bake this again, and I've still got all my settings. But I'll save me bake, which I should have done anyway. And now we've got some weird stuff going on, so let's just do. That's because I flattened the bottom. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Low poly. Oh, come on, Lisa. I'm going to call it leather. Find our sofa normal. And there it is. What on earth is going on here? Lordy. Okay. Don't ask questions, Lisa. At least you've got it back. So the legs. The legs we're going to make a chrome kind of thing. We don't want the normal on there. Try that again. Get rid of that on the legs. We want this to be chrome. We'll get rid of the normal. We want it to be metallic, except I usually like to make it just a bit off fully metallic because it can make things look totally weird. Same with roughness as well. I never make it 0 on the roughness, so we'll make that 0.05-ish. That's probably a bit too shiny, so we'll increase it a bit more. And then we can choose a colour. If it's chrome, it's going to be pretty whitish anyway, but we want it to be a little bit darker. Maybe something like that. It doesn't need to be quite as grey as stainless steel, I don't think. Okay. So the sofa, I'm not going to give it an actual texture. I'm just going to give it a colour. So if we choose something that's going to look kind of brownish, Maybe something like that. A little bit more orangey perhaps. Oh, that's a bit more greenish. We could turn the saturation up slightly. Maybe something like that. It looks a bit like coffee, doesn't it? It's not really tan. Yeah, maybe something a bit more like that. So there is our sofa. Now I'm going to save this for now and try joining them together and hope it doesn't all go wonky. I haven't got any modifiers, have I? No. So it should work. There we go. And I'll just select these vertices, just the feet, faces of the feet on the bottom, and put my origin there. And that'll do. We'll save again. And this one I'm going to mark as an asset. So now when I go back to my first scene, it's going to come in huge. I didn't actually resize it, did I? So what I wanted to do was resize it, so because at the moment it's 2.5 meters tall, which is a bit overkill. It'll be poking out the walls of my living room at this rate, so we'll make it maybe we'll start off with 0.75 meters maybe high. Undo that because I clearly haven't set the rotation and scale. Try that again, see what that's like, and I'll just copy the scale to them. Does that look okay? I guess possibly. Apply the scale. Right, so now what we can do is vertical split. Oh, look at that. There we go. Asset browser. There's our sofa. For some reason it's purple. It shouldn't be. But we'll just go into our lounge and see if that actually works. And we'll rotate it on the Z by 90-ish. Move it back and maybe move it over here so it's in front of the coffee table. It's easy enough to move around afterwards, but that should be sitting perfectly on the floor. So if I just get rid of that, we'll save it again because I'm always frightened of losing everything. And we kind of got, it's a bit dark because if you remember, I think we did we not light this room purely with indirect lighting? Did we not use emission? I can't remember now because we might have cranked it right up.
Yeah, we did use emission.
Yeah, I had a feeling we did. So it's a bit dark at the moment. But we'll have a sofa, and that I don't think looks bad at all. We can look into doing a nice leather texture on it next week, and maybe creating, like, this is a 3-seater sofa, maybe creating a 2-seater because I've actually got one. In case you haven't figured out, this is roughly modelled on my house, so I've actually got a 2-seater sofa under this window here. So we'll do that next week. We've got 3 minutes left. We've actually done pretty well creating what I consider this to be quite an advanced thing to do, considering we've only been doing this for, what, 2 or 3 months.
That's incredible.
So I hope I haven't rushed ahead too fast, as I say, but it will be uploaded. I will let you all know where the video will be uploaded to. I've just got to create a playlist with everything that we've done so far. Nothing is lost. And yeah, have fun working through it. I would love to see what anybody makes if you decide to have a go at doing something like that. I think it would be awesome. And as I say, it is based on a tutorial that I found on YouTube, but he didn't show how to optimize the objects. It was purely for rendering in Blender. So you would normally have very high poly assets for your own Blender scenes for the best results. But I added the extra dimension of optimizing it for VR. So I hope you have fun with that. Has anybody got any questions quickly, because we've got 2 minutes left?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I have one
Yes,
question.
thank you.
Right, yeah.
How do you become a god?
Unfortunately, I can't answer that question with Blender.
Practice.
Well, you're certainly a god with your hands and the work you do.
I wouldn't say so. I'm an enthusiast. That's all I am. I'm one of these people that can't get through the day without opening Blender up at some time and experimenting, because I've had this idea in my head and thought, I wonder if that would work. So, and that's how I learned. I mean, I knew nothing. When I first joined Altspace, which was back in 2017, 2018, I knew nothing about Blender, and I learned
Damn you,
purely
technology.
by learning how to build worlds in there. And you just got to play with it, have fun. Try not to just work through tutorials and things and get bored with it. It's like going to school and you kind of think, oh God, just have fun. And every now and again, if you subscribe to a few channels on YouTube, you get these really interesting shorts and stuff pop up as well with handy little tips and tricks, which you think, oh, I can use that. Oh, yeah. Oh God, I've just bashed my desk with my elbow. I do apologise about that. But
You're alright.
I'm fine. I've got another elbow. I can cope. I've got a spare one. So
Would you like a sweet?
no, thank you. So yeah, there we
Been
go.
eating gummies this entire time.
It's that's fine. You won't get told off in my classroom for eating. So thank you everybody for
Yay, no
coming. It is
detention.
8 o'clock. I've managed
you,
to
Lisa.
squeeze all that in an hour. Yeah, next week, I don't know what we're going to do next week. I haven't decided. If anybody has any suggestions, feel free to let me know. We can even leave it till next week and you can tell me what you want to do. Otherwise, I'll just
TVs?
surprise you.
Ooh, TVs.
TVs, yeah,
are cool.
possibly. Bart's the expert with
Because I've got a
TVs.
60-inch
He's
flat screen
made
TV,
several.
you know, and I want to know how to make that.
If you want to make a TV, you should make an old TV. Way cooler.
Yeah,
I actually own one. An old box TV. I own
yeah.
one.
Yeah, me too.
Bart
I
modelled
play
an
on my
absolutely
original Xbox on it.
beautiful Sony Trinitron for one of our worlds in Altspace for the old video game history museum. And I absolutely loved it.
wow.
And we had old adverts showing on the TV, with the Nintendo adverts. So you like walk through the Atari, that's
Atari
right. So you
adverts,
walked through the museum and there was these adverts playing on a Sony Trinitron TV, which I thought was quite cool. Anyway, there we go. We're done. Thank you everybody for coming.
Thank you, Lisa.
It still tickles me so much that so many of you still come week after week, which is nice. I know I haven't bored you to death too much. So yeah, I hope to see you all next week. Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording now.